With so many options from new and old generations of PC parts, what do we pick for a budget build? Today I've got a budget Intel build for December 2023 for New Zealand, so let's go ahead and check out what I've put in this PC part build. Starting off with the price, it comes out at $1,183.58 depending on which retailers you go to. Just keep in mind at the moment that nothing is really on special at the moment. Well, there are a few parts that are reasonably cheap at the moment and some that are not, so the price could fluctuate. Overall though, it probably is around about this price range. Just keep in mind you can switch out things like the case or the power supply, things like that are easy to replace, or even get secondhand storage options as well. Let's go ahead and check out the parts individually. Starting off with the CPU, I've chosen the i3-13100F, and it comes in at around $189 from First Wave or $199 from Extreme PC. Now this processor is pretty decent on the budget side because it can play games pretty nicely, and it's a sub $200 CPU at the moment. Now it's good to consider the CPU, especially when you're on a budget, as a lot of the other CPUs at the moment are quite pricey. The next one up from this you could go to is something like the Ryzen 5 5600, which costs around the $239, and it is a little bit of an upgrade over this CPU for gaming. But if we're going to keep it as cheap as we can, we're going to choose the i3-13100F here, and there's quite a few benchmarks to back these figures up as well. So I'm just going to go into the price history as well. So if we go to price by here, you can see some of the lowest prices have been $167 from Aquila Technology, and we also have First Wave here at $167. So the price can fluctuate from anywhere from like $15 to $20, so just keep that in mind, and hopefully on the next sale day you'll be able to pick up something like this if you're wanting to build a budget PC. Next we're going to head over to the motherboard. I've chosen the Gigabyte B760M motherboard. It's $205.85 from pubg or $223.87 from Ascent. And what you guys will probably notice is the motherboards are a little bit expensive at the moment, and you just have to look out for specials. But I mean, B series motherboards are looking around about $200 at the moment, unfortunately. So it's something to take into consideration just in terms of price. Also, just keep in mind there's no actual proper cooling on the VRMs here on the MOSFETs, so I mean, that's not really an issue, especially if you're not overclocking, and this is a budget board as well. You also might be wondering why I didn't pick a B660 board. The reason is because it does need a BIOS update, and you will need to update the BIOS with it, so you might need to pay slightly extra for the BIOS update if you don't have a CPU on hand. Usually they should come with the BIOS updated, but I can't guarantee that, and especially if this is a budget build, I'm going to assume this is probably one of your earlier builds, like one of your first builds to do, so I'd probably just pick something that would just work out of the box. But I mean, hey, if you're like me, I'd probably try to get the cheaper one and see if I can do the BIOS update myself, or see if someone has the CPU on hand to do that for me. So there's the X610 motherboards, there's also the B660 boards that you can go with. Just keep in mind that BIOS update, it's not really too much of an issue, but hey, I mean, for this build, since it's a budget one, I'm just going to assume you probably don't have like as much knowledge or experience, so we'll make it as seamless as possible for you. That's my justification for it, for the B760 motherboard. Now just going down to the price here, so on Price Buy, we can see that the cheapest price was at $183 from pubg for a little while, for quite a while actually, for nearly the whole month of November. And it has happened $179 on the 15th of October as well, for a little while, for a couple of days. It's about 4 days there. So I mean, honestly, the price of the motherboard should come down, so I'm just going to assume that you're not going to build with these higher prices at the moment, so we can assume this motherboard goes down by at least like $20 or so. We can see what happens to the price in the future, but it should go down again for Christmas and Boxing Day sales. Now heading over to the RAM, and I've just chosen a basic kit of Corsair Vengeance LPX DDR4 3200 CL16. Now this comes in at $78 from First Wave, and $78 $78.90 from Mighty Ape, and $78.99 from pubg. Now even Computer Lounge has a 79, so they're all around about the same price. And to be honest with you, this is just a basic kit of RAM. There's also the Kingston Fury as well that comes around this price as well, so just keep that in mind. But you do want to just look for DDR4 3200 CR16. Now this CAS latency is not the best, but you're not overclocking, so it's not really too much of an issue here. And if we just scroll down to the price history, no, I don't actually have a price history from PriceBuy because I couldn't find the actual product on PriceBuy. But if we scroll down here, one of the cheaper options was from pubg for $68.07. So we can assume that it has around about a $10 deviation, like variation in it, so it would be $10 cheaper. And I think that's a pretty decent discount considering it's already a relatively cheap kit of RAM. So yeah, overall, not bad at all. So heading over to storage. Now I haven't actually included that much storage. We've only gone with the Samsung 870 EVO 500 gig. It's $64 from First Wave and $67.85 from Computer Lounge and pubg at the moment. And it's a really solid SSD. I actually had one, or the 860 EVO. I only recently upgraded to the 990 Pro NVMe SSD. So I mean, it served me well for a very long time. I didn't really have any issues. The only thing, my gripe is it was only 500 gigs, which isn't that much. But I did have quite a few hard drives, so that's something to consider. Now, I always say for storage, if you want to store games and only games, like nothing personal, nothing that's irreplaceable, then go ahead and get a secondhand drive like of TradeMe or something, like a 1TB hard drive. They should cost you anywhere from around ideally $25 to $30 New Zealand. Just remember to check the hours on and make sure that there's no corrupted sectors on it. That's something that can be grabbed off Crystal Diskmark. Just ask the seller for it. They should be able to tell you the power on hours and stuff like that. No, the cheapest does say here $53.39 from pubg, and I'm just gonna double check that on PriceBuy real quick. PriceBuy doesn't seem to have all of the correct options. Seems like Extreme PC is the cheapest at the moment at $58.01, so that's pretty good. It's cheaper than what it was before. Interesting. So it's a $67.85 here, and over here it's $67.85. So it's correct. I don't know why it hasn't listed Extreme PC here, but they are the cheapest. I'll go ahead and add that in for now. Just remember that this part obviously can go down slightly further, but I mean, hey, at $58.01, that's pretty cheap. Yeah, so that's not bad at all, but it seems like they only have one in stock at St. Luke's and 20 at the suppliers. So I mean, they still have some. They probably just have to order them in from this supplier, that's all. Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad option at all, and you're saving what, $5 or so from First Wave, so not bad at all. Now just another SSD option is the NVMe option. It's just the Samsung 980 500 gig. Now this is $74 from First Wave or $74.99. Now this can be a better option because it might be slightly quicker for some people, and especially like when you're transferring larger files, it can be quite helpful for like an NVMe SSD. So if we just scroll down here, the price history on it, the cheapest was $64.40 from First Wave, or pubg $65. So that's not bad at all. I mean, to be honest with you guys, I'd probably try and pick the NVMe SSD if I'm not scraping, for dollars, for money. I'd probably try to pick something like the 980, and we're just gonna check the price history on PriceBuy as well real quick. Yeah, $64.40 from First Wave. So yeah, not badly priced at all when it does go on special. Next we have the graphics card, and I've gone with an interesting choice here, and I'm actually surprised they still sell it. It's a Power Color Fighter RX 6600. It's an 8 gig card, and at the moment it's $398.73 from Paradigm PCs, or $398.99 from pubg. So I think it's a great option, especially like sub $400. And you know, like it's a good not even mid-range, I'd say entry-level card now. I'd say it's a good card to get started on, especially for a budget build. I probably wouldn't pick something like the 1650 or any card like that. I don't think they're worth it. This card's probably a sweet spot for the budget, like very entry level, and I think it's at a decent price. Let's just go ahead and have a check on price history. You know, it's been hovering around this for a little while now, and you know, it hasn't fluctuated too much. Even on the price by link as well, it's literally stayed at that for a while now. So I think it's a good card for the price. Now there are other cards to have a look out for if they do go on special, so I'll just show you guys what they are. If you guys can find a 6600 XT, that'd be great. If you can find one for under like 450. Also the ARC A750 is decent at $470. Now it's still $70 at over the power color fighters, so if you guys get that on special, it can be a decent option. And then the next one is the 7600. Now if you do see something like the 7600 go on special, if you see them go to like sub 500, I definitely say it's a pretty good buy. But it does have to go down in price for it to be like, you know, affordable, like within this budget range. It's really hard to keep in this budget range, especially right now. I think prices are a little bit high, with in between parts, in between generations of parts. So, you know, it's difficult to make a choice, but definitely the RX 6600 would be a great option if you guys wanted to buy a graphics card like in a budget range at the moment. So heading over to the case, I've gone with the Silverstone Pharo R1 Pro, and this is $99 from Computer Lounge. It comes with 3 fans at the front and 1 rear exhaust fan as well, so it's great. It comes with all the fans you need. It has a mesh like airflow front panel as well, which is great to have. And honestly, it's not the best case, to be honest with you guys, but you know, for the price and what it comes with, I think it's a decent offering. In terms of price, it doesn't really fluctuate too much. It's gone to $95 from Computer Lounge previously. And if you just check on PriceBuy as well, that's probably like it's one of the cheapest that it's been in like a little while. So like it goes on special by around about $5, not too much to be honest with you guys, so not that bad. But again, if you guys want to change the case out, feel free to do so if you want to go with something cheaper. But I think the offering's pretty good with how many fans it does come with. And I also just confirmed as well on Computer Lounge's listing here, it does come with the 3 front fans and the 1 rear fan, so that's good to know as well. Lastly, we've gone with the Fractal Design Ion power supply. It's a 550 watt gold rated power supply. It's fully modular as well. It comes in at $149 from Computer Lounge, and it is fully modular, so you know it's easier to cable manage with, and you have a power supply shrouders here as well, so all your cable mess can be down there. Now, you don't have to go with this power supply if you don't want to. If you want to save a bit, you can try to go for a non-modular one, which will probably be around about $100. But just keep in mind, I don't try to skimp on power supplies, and I think it's a great offering for what it is. And in terms of price history, it hasn't really gone down in price in a little while. Before Black Friday, it went to $139 from Computer Lounge, so around about a $10 difference, but I think it's fairly priced at what it is at the moment. I think it's like just bang on what you should have for this type of budget build, and yeah, I think it's a good offering as well. It's a decent high quality power supply as well, that's going to last you quite a while. So overall, again, this build costs around $1,183.58. Now just reminding you of the variation in the price. It can probably go up or down, but we are looking around about $1,200 for this build. It is a little bit expensive, but I think for this type of budget build, it's probably around bang on what it should be at the moment. Prices are a little bit higher, unfortunately. But I think you're going to get a good value offering from the i3 13100F and also the RX 6600. You're going to be easily able to play any esport title and quite a few AAA games at 1080p, like pretty easily. So yeah, it'll be a fun build to enjoy, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. It is a little bit longer just because I went over those price histories right there, but we'll try to do more of these videos going forward, and we'll see if we can revive the channel a little bit. But thank you guys very much for your patience. I really appreciate the support and ongoing support, even though I haven't been as active. As always, if you guys have any questions, make sure to put them in the comments and I'll do my best to respond. But other than that, hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!